This is Dan Max at EXPI Realty, aka the Trading Agent, and this is your live market recap for Thursday, October 4th. Did I label this incorrectly? I think I did. October 4th, 2022. October 3rd. Man, I am off on my days. Yeah, 2022. Let's get into it. I'm going to let people file in. I'm going to give it 6 minutes. So if you're watching this after the fact, 6:30 mark. Let's get into it. Hopefully people are doing well. Interesting times in the market. Got some time here before we start. Ask questions, get involved. I appreciate everybody. It's not easy. And as I continue to purge the Discord room, I noticed today on FinTwit that trading accounts have actually decreased. They're actually year over year. Now people are getting out of trading. It's about to get hard. And this is where the cream rises to the top. The people that are the patient, the people that don't overtrade, the people who understand the markets, risk management, first of all, above everything else, are going to succeed. I promise that. If you're newer and you've been paying attention and you want to get involved, you want to get in the Discord room, because again, we're talking all day. Appreciate all the friends and family who are in here, constantly involved. It means a lot to me. Hit me up on Twitter, get you a link potentially. Again, I apologize to people that did purge. I mean, if you got kicked out and it wasn't a ban, then you probably could come back. It's just sometimes people don't realize. I used to have this on trading. The volume price analysis room was created by me, and I would just put people in timeout and ignore them for a week. And sometimes it's just good. You got to realize, like, there's a reason why we say things, and discipline is important, and why you have to be what I would consider on top of your game. Because if you're not, and there's no repercussions to gambling and over trading and doing things you shouldn't, when you make more money, you're just going to make the same bigger mistakes. So just trying to help people out, be thoughtful. Again, if you have questions about anything related, I mean, the Back to Basics series, I mean, how many we got here? 50-something videos. How to trade before the FOMC. Fibonacci sequencing. Why they matter. I mean, all this stuff. Stops. Time frames. Pro versus novice gaps. How to draw channels. I mean, again, I'm not really tailored for beginners. It's more of this channel helps out people who are struggling, who have won. Maybe you had beginner's luck. You think you're good at trading, and then now you realize, like, wow, this is incredibly difficult. That's trading. The ability to adapt, the pivot, and experience. It's not just everybody makes money. And that's one of the ways that we're able actually to tell that the top was in later last year, is that you had so much frothy stupidity. You know, they say fatten the cow before the slaughter. Like, that's what was going on in the markets. And it was very clear at some point we were going to correct. Once the liquidity was coming out and the Feds turned themselves in for owning stocks to force themselves to liquidate, game changer, meaning, they have to sell now, huh? Now they won't support the market like they have with stimulus constantly. Anyway, that's a whole nother topic for another day. I appreciate everybody. Again, if you are newer, follow, subscribe, reach out, leave comments, likes. I pay attention to who's involved because it matters to me. And because then when that same person's like, hey, I've been following the channel. Do you not see I have commented on your videos? I liked it. Yeah, okay. I can see that kind of stuff. It matters to me. Because there's a lot of people who just, hey, I saw your video, I want to jump in. And it's like, I don't really know what your story is. And I really don't want to bring more mass confusion into the Discord room. It already gets way too emotional for me. Because I think, again, you're noticing the people that are the most emotional are the ones who struggle the most. Now, losing happens. No one's going to pretend like they're always winning, but the people who get emotional really can't see the evidence for what it is. Just, it is what it is. Think about it. Like, how does someone stay in a relationship that's terrible? How does someone stay in a crappy job they hate? How does someone continuously overeat when they know they shouldn't? It's emotions clouding their judgment and rationalizing bad behavior. Solely because the brain is tricking you to believe that's the best thing to do. That's why trading is going to expose everything about you and your weaknesses. Anyway, yeah, come on in. Appreciate everybody. If you have questions about particular stocks, we go through them. If not, I will do more open mic at the end. A lot of people appreciate just the mindset stuff, and it's important. It really is, because at some point you will be tested on your, what I would say, your commitment to being right or your commitment to being humble and admitting you're wrong. And everyone's going to struggle with that at some point. And so you'll learn. You'll make mistakes. We're here to help you out. Hopefully make sure that your tuition bill is not as great as myself and some of the other people. Because again, trading is a knowledge-based game, and it's through experience. I mean, people who got lucky buying and holding, say, for example, like Bitcoin, that was a one-off. That was the one in a bazillion. That was winning the lottery. Most stocks don't win the lottery. Most stocks go to zero. They either get bought out or become the rare diamond in the rough to join, say, the S&P 500 or become part of the Dow. Most stocks go to nothing, get bought out. It's just crazy how people don't understand that, but it is what it is. It is what it is. I appreciate everybody. Again, 20 seconds. Let's get the party started. Amazing. Solar. Don't short it. Don't short it. Oh, I shorted it. The market isn't ready to turn over, and if you can't see that based on the VIX and the action, I don't know what to tell you. We've talked about repeating patterns, and I'll repeat it in this video again. It's just, I hate repeating myself. Let the party start. Yeah, I agree. All right, going to start recording. Again, if you have questions about the stocks as I am reviewing them, please jump in. If it's something random or not related, I'd ask that you ask it at the end. Hey guys, some of the regulars, what's up? All right, let's record. This is Dan Max at EXPI Realty, aka the Trading Agent, and this is your daily market recap for Thursday, November 3rd, 2022, the day after the FOMC. The bloodbath did not continue, but it also was pretty bloody out there. Interesting market, as we've talked about 1,000 times. 1,000 times. Market rotates money. It does not get destroyed. Now, whether bets get placed or not, different story, but money is not destroyed. If money is coming out of tech, it is going to find its home somewhere. And we've talked about what the home is, and it's clearly, obviously going to be commodities. We're going into the next commodity super cycle. These things usually last 8 to 10 years. They come after non-super cycles, obviously. So if you're thinking about investing in tech, bless you, my child, be careful, because it might not go anywhere for a long time, while commodities, industrials, just your good old and, low considered PE safe stocks that can pass on inflation and deal with higher interest rates kind of stuff. Remember, tech is deflationary, hates higher rates. So anyway, on that note, I appreciate everybody. If you are new to the channel and want to join the Discord room, drop me a direct chat on Twitter, talk to you, we'll figure it out. If you're also just new and you're like, what is this guy talking about? You want more? I got 50 back to basics videos on everything you might need to know about trading. This channel's not built for beginners. Again, it's built for people who work their butt off to figure out what they want out of the market, try to get it, and then we coach them the best we can. All of it's free, never charge anything. If I ever ask you for money, then it's somebody not real. It's someone trying to pretend they're me. Again, I only accept donations because I want people to realize the tuition bill is going to be there. It's whether you follow and you make the mistakes or you follow from other people's mistakes. And that's where I think a lot of people appreciate that. And again, there's no guarantees in trading. We survive. That is the goal. Discord room as normal. Appreciate you guys. Let's get into it. Bitcoin going nowhere. I've said this a long while now. It feels like May. Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if it chopped out. Personally, I try to keep, we try to stay indifferent, right? We try to be evidence-based. Nothing here says it's going higher or lower. It looks like it's in a choppy trading range. I don't know what to tell you. If you're bullish on it, you just need to continue to make higher highs, higher lows. Next stop, probably somewhere in the 22.8. Just make sure it doesn't break below 18. It's that simple. Nat gas, tight action today into the next point of control. I still think it's going higher. We've said that commodities are going to be the problem for the Fed. I think it's about to start getting even more real. And when I say more real, like the Feds are going to get put to the test. They're absolutely going to be put to the test here because unemployment is starting to kick up. inflation is starting to seem like it's, pausing. But if, again, why I think, again, commodity is a long-term super cycle, but this is the trading part of it where it's going to go up and lead. If we're in the commodity, again, that money is going to rotate into that, and the Feds aren't going to like that. They're going to be in a pickle because, again, the budget deficits, everything going on is not conducive to higher rates. So do they stick at these rates and commodities bottom and then go higher and they have to raise more? Or they just say, screw it, we can't fiscally afford higher rates in the recession that will be prolonged potentially because of it. But remember, think about the 70s. Think about the 70s. UNG. I mean, it's getting real tight. Again, you just get over mid-sixes. There's not really much to say. If you bought it at the lows, just remember, this is a wild buckaroo. You gotta let it breathe. And every day is not an up day. Every day is not a down day. Oh my gosh. What did I just do? Sorry, typed in the wrong thing. U.S. oil. Here you go. We talked about oil. Here, let me break it back down for you. 76 is an old high from 2000 and what? 20, right? 18. Sorry, dang. We held it. We failed at 93, which was this inflection point. We bounced at 82, 83. Now it looks like we're building to go higher. Again, here's your little head and shoulders complex. Just wait till after the election and the SPR has to get refilled. I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of things that you could argue why oil and gas go higher because, again, there's not a lot of the supply, unfortunately, has been what? I mean, curtailed. I mean, oil and gas names, I mean, we all know. I mean, they're not in a situation where they're producing. They've been told to limit their production, told they're going to be taxed more. You don't do that if you want to increase supply, and especially if you don't want to be reliant on anyone else around the world. It seems logical, but politics has gone illogical. We know that. So moving on. Again, at this point, oil, I still think it's going to get to 93, but I really think the Feds don't get too nervous until you get to the 100 plus level. Dan, do you think maybe get back into UNG boil derivative plays? I mean, you can get back into those names. I just think you have to have stops. You just have to have stops. I mean, I personally think that those names should go higher, but if you didn't get in at the low, well, then guess what? You're rolling the dice. Chasing slightly. I mean, buy dips. If you believe in those trades. That's how I look at it. I mean, I said this, man, I remember when ExxonMobil was in the 80s, and I was like, I think it goes to new highs. If it repeats the May-June cycle of commodities leading near term before the next market smash, then yeah, remember in May and June, commodities went bonkers? I don't know why we wouldn't do that again. And remember, in May and June, all the dollar did was just consolidate. Speaking of the dollar, everyone's like, it's breaking out. I'm like, man, this is a sneaky candle because you don't really know. People are like, why don't you look at the Dixie? I'm like, no, I want to look at the dollar for what it's doing during the hours that I'm actually trading, because the open and close matter to me for the hours I'm trading. This is not technically bullish or bearish. I mean, when you gap up on high volume to the channel high and potentially a lower high, you need more data. That's all you need. You need more data. I don't know how else to explain it. More data needed. TLT, we said this. If commodities are going higher and the Feds are in a pickle, I mean, TLT has no value to me. Bonds, none. I mean, I think they go sideways nowhere. Who cares? They're probably going to be stuck. Because, again, if you think even if inflation is 5% when CPI comes at 6%, why would you want to buy bonds at these prices? Unless the market is about to implode and inflation comes down completely, it doesn't really seem like that. We've said the market's probably going to hold up into into the election, possibly OPEX, the repeating pattern of the VIX getting smoked. Here we talk about it. Nobody's paying a freaking attention. I'm like, the VIX is not telling you the market's about to break out or break down. It's telling you the volatility is getting sucked out. And potentially what? The repeating pattern of 2008. Now, again, you can't compare the two all the time. But this is always very ominous. We talked about this. Before it went higher, you had 2 months of, a pop-up and then back down to the 20-month. Pop-up, here's the 20-month around 22. I said 20, 21, 20, something like that. I mean, don't bring a ruler to trading. I say that all the time. That would not surprise me. There is a gap to fill down at 20, whatever, 67. If that happens, don't be surprised if anyone else, go watch these videos. I said we could honestly fill the gap if this pattern repeated. Once we broke the 20-day, I felt more comfortable that we were going lower. Well, here we go, making lower lows. I mean, this is an interesting candle because you had a higher high and a lower low, but you close on the low end of the range. Bears getting pretty excited. Bulls pretty scared. Here you go. Here it is. Doji on the 20-day. We talked about once you closed at the lows today or yesterday, put out some alerts. Buy the market. 360, what was it? Low 368, 369. Something. I was like, yeah, I think you can take a trade on that. Look at that. Held the fib. Held the fib. Doji at the 20-day. Need more information. Now, if you're bullish, you're not confirmed, obviously, but you need to see what happens with the jobs data tomorrow. But once you got over the 20-day and now you're back testing it, we'll see what happens. We're at the point of control. There's so many things here that it's literally a coin flip. Hopefully people understand that. So if you're bullish, you need to hold the 370 area. If you're bearish, you need to break this son of a biscuit quick. Now, if you want to rely on Powell's headlines as your whole logic, just beware. This is a little different than 2008 as well. GDP was just 2%. In the fall of 2008, GDP was falling off a cliff. Now, the market is always a forward discounting mechanism. We know that. But, again, just like in May, June, look at this. Got super choppy and commodities went banging. All right, just remember that we talked about May, June. Tech, I have recommended to stay away from it, yet I get a dozen questions, DMs, what about this tech stock? And I'm like, I don't like stuff that's low, upper left, lower right at this point. The trend is down. Now, could it bounce here? I mean, it's kind of an interesting close. I mean, don't have to be a rocket therapist to see why this is, support resistance right here, right now. Better hold. If not, it comes right back down. Did people remember when I said this on the monthly? Because I'm going to pat myself on the back. I said once we broke the 20-month, it was game over. Well, here you go. Run the fibs out. I don't know why, man, nothing's saved. You start running out the bigger fibbies. You see why the 0.382 has to hold here. If not, coming back to the 50, 0.618, 0.7. Wow, it's crazy how the 0.75 is back where? That's not a coincidence. Remember how we talk about fibs completing? I mean, why did I not remember saving this? Well, whatever. Why is that not a coincidence that the 0.75 would line up with the 2000 highs? Oh, man, this market is so rigged. And when I say rigged, like computer rigged, algorithmic, Fibonacci sequencing, repeating patterns. Yet it's just hard to see it live. It's always hard to see it in the moment. Hence why you try to anticipate it. The IWM, we've talked about it. Held, as you can see on the monthly, held some support. Well, commodities, more in the IWM stuff. Small caps, not tech heavy. Here you go. 20-day. Doink. Bounced. Now, shout out to the people who said it was going lower. This much lower, if you called that. Again, you never know for sure. But did the IWM confirm the lows from June by blowing through them in September? No. No, they didn't. That's why we're bullish. We're like, the VIX didn't confirm it. The IWM, which leads, didn't confirm it. Let's see what happens here. IWM, I mean, if it holds here, y'all see how the sequence plays out potentially. The 0.618, 200-day, maybe even to this box, maybe back test this old trend line. Can't be bearish here. I mean, beyond, unless it breaks the 20-day. Gold, all right, here you go. Here's me saying buy gold. And anyone who knows me knows I've been trading this stuff for when you still had to, dig it out of the ground with a pick and an axe. No, I mean, again, I hate gold until what? The Feds pivot. But what are you seeing here? I mean, again, I've asked the Discord room, I asked people, I'm like, tell me a reason why I shouldn't buy gold. Tell me a reason. Give me evidence that I'm missing here, because everything looks bullish. If you change the name from GLD to Apple, people wouldn't hesitate. Firstly, monthly. Down 7 months in a row. Tightening action. Tightening action. Tightening action. Tightening action. Okay? Again, I mean, this bounce, whatever we're playing, I'm not going to believe it's the bottom. The bottom. I think there's a bounce. Then you go look at the daily. You go, well, you got below the lows, and then you closed at the highs of the day. Now, people will say, but Dan, there wasn't volume. And I will say, yeah, I see your point. But let's take a look at some of the intraday action, right? Because you'll see, let me pull up the hourly. This whole move was a trap. I mean, again, if you're the market makers and you understand traps here, I mean, you're pretty close to the lows to get people to puke. They had to absorb it here. You take it a little lower. The biggest candle of the day was what? Right at the open with volume. Now, I'm not, again, I don't know if this is like the final bottom, but this volume down here, even if you just in the zone, auto zone, no, I don't know. I mean, we talked about it. I love when the fibs line up with swing points. 0.382, swing point. 0.5, the point of top of the freaking VAP zone. The 0.618, top of a range. How the hell do they do it every time? No, I mean, it just is what it is. So the hourly looks interesting. The monthly looks interesting. The daily has a potential outside like trap action. If you bought gold today, I don't blame you. I don't blame you one bit. Then you go look at silver, you go, all right, what's silver doing? You're going, whoa, not making new lows. Gaps down, closes at the high. You're like, what the? And here again, here's the evidence building. I don't want to be long gold, but it's telling me it's going higher. Kramer. GDX. Now, again, I hate the large miners. I said this, and somebody's like, oh, I'm buying Barrick Gold and Newmont. I'm like, God, I'm not going to swear. Please, no. Buy the juniors. If this is part of the cycle, again, the juniors have all the upside. The mega ones are a waste of time. But even the GDX, look where it's holding. Old Fibber. Old faithful, old fibber, whatever you want to call it. Do y'all see this? Y'all seen it? Yes, you've seen it. I don't know what else to say. Again, if you break it, I guess. Look at the juniors. Junior. Hello, Junior. It's like the Sean Connery voice from why do I always forget those movies? I know like Raiders of the Lost Ark. What is it? Indiana Jones? Junior. The penitent man will pass. Junior. The Sean Connery. Junior. Junior, look at this. The junior miners. That's not his voice, but it's kind of in that realm. Doji today. Big volume. Again, you would expect. Look out. Stopped today. Is this Apple money? No, I'm just kidding. I don't know. But somebody stopped the crap out of it from dropping. If you go look at the intraday action, you can see it too. Let me get through there. Drops. Boing. Pulls back on light volume. Stops. Check the 10. Check it out. Obviously, that was the close. Here's the open. Long wick for zinc. Retest zinc. I mean, it's feeling bouncy. Now, again, is it the long-term bottom? I mean, you don't really know. But what are the things that we talk about with time corrections, right? Like, this is now getting time correctionist. Can you say that? Is that the right way to describe it? I mean, it's due. When it does this kind of action, again, here it is. December is usually the best, but I mean, you get November bounces, y'all. You get November bounces potentially. If you're going to play miners, please don't pick a specific name. The juniors look interesting. Again, I don't really like the miners if the market's going to correct, but if the market is actually going to hold up, chop, and rise, doesn't mean miners can't. AG held the 50-day. Doesn't look terrible. I see higher lows. Is that a higher? Yeah, and a higher high. AEM. Now, we like AEM. We like AEM because it doesn't look like all the other crap ones because you have volume down here. Do you have a higher low potentially? You tell me. Newmont. This is why I continue to show this. Like, leave them alone. Dog crap. Doggy doo-doo. Whee. Now, it might be a trap. I just don't like these names. I don't like the mega miners. The large monster ones. Newmont, Barrick. Leave them alone. Crap. Someone's like, I'm buying Barrick today. I'm like, man, I want to pull the trigger and kill myself for saying this and wasting time telling this person 1,000 times. Count them. Every video. Don't buy the large cap miners. Don't buy the large. I'm going to buy the large cap. I'm going to buy Newmont. God dang it. Sorry, pass. Just on a side note. You know who you are if you're listening. Don't make me reach through the screen microphone and slap you. Whoosh. 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 Unreal. Hey, is that candle on AEM an anomaly? Thank you for interrupting. When you say candle, I'm assuming you mean the daily. This closed, you mean? Are you talking about this specific candle, Joe? Because if you are, no, not necessarily. But, I mean, they probably got pulled down because of Barrick. But you're at some interesting points. I mean, I'm not just going to draw the line to fit the spot. But, I mean, the spot kind of fits the line. Now, you could, again, we don't always bring a ruler to trading. We shouldn't. Oh, yesterday was that an anomaly? Okay, thank you for clarifying. Usually Big Red should have bigger volume. I mean, I see what you're looking at. Because Big Reds usually have bigger volume. Good question. And again, today's action coming back into this little chop zone. I mean, I would watch it. 40s could be a buy. It could be a buy. You do your own due diligence. You trade accordingly to your own plan. AMD. Fed day exaggeration, potentially. No doubt, Scott. No diggity, no doubt. AMD earnings came out, popped, filled the gap. Not surprised. Now, again, do you want to short this? I don't know. But upper left, lower right, I don't want to buy it either. I don't really have that desire. But it doesn't look like it's about to bend over and take it down. Bend over and take it. I guess that's not. Bend over and get beaten, spanked. NVIDIA, same thing. It held the channel low and at the 50-day. You know, as much as everyone's like getting excited, I'm like, I don't really see it. The SMH, I mean, if you shorted it today on the exaggerated down move and you saw the doji, I mean, I would be nervous as crap because the doji is a tight candle. And look at the volume. It's equivalent to the previous day's volume. That doesn't necessarily mean to me what? Continuation. That means like somebody was stopping the drop, playa. Drop at a beat. I mean, you've got a little bit of, I mean, I could connect it to there. Yeah, I mean, if you go look at the hourly, you'll see it. Like, it makes sense why this could hold here. It's the top, remember, high volume highs, high volume lows. Jay Solstice, if you're listening, love to retest. Well, there is your big whale supporting it. If it holds here, I mean, I've said I think 2 hundos coming. I'm not going to back off of it because the evidence now, again, you see one red candle, everybody's like, ah! See one green candle, ah! Remember this? And then that, and then resolved higher. I don't know. I just don't see the market tanking in front of the election. If they can rig everything about the world, would you think they're going to rig the market to tank before the election? Probably not. Adobe. Software names. Bleh. I don't know. I'd watch it in the 270s. Again, do you want to play these? I don't. Upper left, lower right. Not the candle direction I want. Apple, freezing hiring. Tech, just leave it alone. Set it 1,000 times. If you want to short it, pick your points carefully. Just be careful, meaning that the market could pop back. Someone was, I talked about wanting to buy Apple on this day, and I said, you know what? Let's not, and let's just stick to commodities. Thank God. Thank God. Because I would have been so pissed. Because it would have popped up. I mean, look at that. 154 down to 138. Too quick. Too quick. So, all right, hold on one second. Inserting an ad here because they beg me to. Catch up here in a second. Amazon, upper left, lower right. What did we say? When this thing started to fall off a cliff, we talked about it had a hold right here. Had a hold 9,900. Well, it didn't. And people still wanted to buy it, and it just hasn't done you real good. Remember, money's not destroyed. It rotates. Big tech looks like the big ATM for commodities in the future and present near-term potential bounces. CRM. I don't even know why I'm going to... At some point, tech won't even be on here. Don't care. Goog. Ooh, I guess backside of a trend line, but I mean... If you shorted it, man, MVP kind of stuff. Love it. Near term, I mean, does it go into the stupid chop cycle? I don't know. I mean, you couldn't pay me to go along this stuff. I mean, since people ask, oh, what do you think? I'm like, Meta. Oh, we got to sell calls into this and try to get... I'm like, dude, just leave it alone. It's going lower. I'm going to buy calls, do some spreads on it. I'm like, this thing is a dog. Do you think Facebook, Meta, whatever is going to be like the big player in the future? I don't. Who knows? Maybe it actually ends up being Twitter. Maybe Elon buying Twitter for $40 billion or whatever is worth $500 billion in 10 years. Dude is maybe not even 10, maybe 5. Who's going to take their lunch? Somebody's coming for Meta's lunch. I mean, we don't. Does anyone trust Zuckerberg to manage this thing? Microsoft doesn't like strong dollar. Oops. I mean, pick and choose your poisons. NDAQ, someone hit me up, go, hey, it's 62 again. I know, I just don't think the market's going to dump. Maybe it needs to do another U pattern. The U top. We'll see. Again, I love this thing short for the long term. Yes, absolutely. When all of the tech becomes trash and loses all the momentum and nobody wants to touch those names like they did in the 2000s, oh yeah, NDAQ, adios, sayonara, arrivederci, goodbye, whatever. MicroStrategy, again, I'm just not bearish, but it's holding here. If you like to trade, this is a trader stock. It'll move 20 points in a day. I don't know. Netflix, so glad we took profits just because. Said, you know what, 290s, I can't remember what day it was. I'm just like, it's just gone too far, too fast. But now, here you go. It said, watch for the 200-day pullback, light volume. Does it hold? I mean, you could, don't bring a ruler. But I could too see the mid-260s. The Roadblocks. I think this gets bought out at some point. Doesn't look terrible. 220-day cross, better hold it. Tesla, as much as everyone hates tech, it's still holding better than a lot of the other ones. It has not turned into, again, Apple, same thing. They have not broken their lows. So be careful. Now that we're running through tech, just please be careful. Letter X. Cheap stocks, they don't catch the momentum. We talked about failing here if it held the trend. Yeah, Zach, we talked about AG. Looks all right, my friend. It's in the video. I can talk about it at the end if you want again. X is tough. Nucor is tough. This stock long-term is building the biggest base, dropping the base. Like, there's a clear base going on here, basing pattern. It's just, do we need to go down to 16, 17 first, then to go up? I personally have not traded this. It doesn't appeal to me because I don't see anything about it that's bullish other than the bottom. Like, you know where the bottom is. Nucor. Now, we talked about this one because this thing moves. AG, look, the weekly. I'll check that out here in a minute. No, I don't want to update my Apple software. I mean, news, we really hoped it would hold 130. It didn't. Clearly, it made a lower low today. Held the 20-day. Again, this stock has been, very similar to X, but a stronger pattern. Bigger moves, right? Do you want 20, 30, 40 points, or do you want $3 or $4? Again, it's all relative to how you want to trade. Personally, news where it's at. And if it holds here, does it get back to the 140s? I don't know. VALE. Too much going on. Somebody hit me up and said I was an election denier yesterday. And no, I'm not an election denier. No, I'm a fraud believer. I think there's elections on all party spectrums. I mean, it literally happens all over the world constantly, and we're using the same softwares. Don't act like, again, anyone who's a software engineer understands anything about this stuff. Like, it's the worst. It's so easy to crack this stuff. And also, too, and people are like, oh, but Trump would treat or Biden. No, it's the people who are the fanatics who are managing the elections that can alter the software. They can change the directory. They can mess with this stuff. I always laugh at them. I'm like, one side's complaining one election, the next, and then it's like everybody knows this kind of junk happens. But then you say, I don't think the election was clean, and people jump on you. And I'm like, come on. I think everyone agrees there's many faults in the voting process everywhere. But somebody has to just and they always get so freaking weird. Well, speaking of Brazil, they're going nuts because the guy who won doesn't seem to be the one that everyone projected to win, and there's voting irregularities. Imagine that. Happens everywhere. But doesn't make you left or right. Just means you don't believe in the crappy systems, okay? Let me stick to that. Someone's like, oh, you're an election denier or whatever. I'm like, no. I'm a fraud believer. Happens everywhere. Big difference. I hate the party systems. I hate politicians. I don't like either side. They come into elections, they tell you what you want to hear, and they do whatever they want. The systems are not set up for you and I to have any real effect on it. So where was I going? Yeah, Brazil. Brazil, potential got issues. Be safe. Just, again, this stock long-term, when it bottoms, awesome. Now, not so much. Arrow, we start to speed this up. Man, channel lows. Again, yesterday was an anomaly, in my opinion. And then you tight action doji today, just like you went. Keep in mind, now start watching this. When you notice the stock has a channel and it breaks out of the channel to come back in it, don't be surprised if at the low of the channel, it does the same thing, goes slightly below it to bounce back. If Arrow does, that looks good. CCJ had every reason to get pounded. Holding. Again, we talk about it. If you see the low upper 22s, cool. Man, someone's going to report me to Google, I bet, for saying that I'm a fraud believer. Whatever. Someone's going to get butthurt about it. CF. Didn't we say, I posted this. CF's earnings going forward look amazing. Up 70% year over year. The visibility is for what? Endless higher prices in the ag name. Lower left, upper right. This is the stock we like. Well, look what happened. Earnings. Talk about buying it at 98 after hours. I was hoping to hold the 100-day. Couldn't even get the 200. Said, all right, if this is strong, it should bounce back. That's strong. Now, I would consider that cannon fodder for higher prices. I don't even know if I'm using that right, but whatever. I still think this gap is going to fill. Things that aren't bearish, right? Like if the market's about to collapse, why is someone aggressively buying AG? Makes no sense if the market's going to collapse. Mosaic. I don't blame people for buying that today. And then look what it does. It holds the range lows. Roth, I know you talked about, I can't remember who else was talking. I'm like, it makes sense. Makes sense. Stop it. It's holding. Now, keep in mind, when we talk about the earnings, please be the second mouse. Because this is what can happen. NTR, up 38% year over year, missed by $1. Gets slammed right back to the support zone. Luckily, we had minimal risk on. I had some calls that I'm like, all right, they go to zero. I don't care. That's what you need to start anticipating. If you were playing options action through earnings, anticipate they going zero. If you want to sell options, you be careful. Because sometimes there's endless upside to be wrong. Selling options. That's why I'm like, I'd just rather be right and then just be safe with that. And if I can go to NTR sucks. Bought it at 78 after hours. Said, oh man, CF is rising. What do you do now? I was like, well, the calls are going to go to crap. So at this point, nothing. There were nothing. I think I had the 83s or 80s or something. Don't own any stock in this. But now, do own stock. It's very, how many should we get? think I had like 400 shares, which not fun, obviously, when it drops 10 points. Again, Dan doesn't always win. Neither will you. Held it and had, I think, with 3 calls. Anyway, either way, not good. But it held here. So at the point, I'm like, all right, I'm going to give it a day and see what happens. Because UAN did very similar things. It dropped, held the channel lows, or the pennant bounced back. Now, if you own NTR paired with CF, it makes it more palatable to hold. But if this turns into a loser, you still got to dump it. I mean, it's crazy. I put my alarm from when the market commodities section would dump, and we're there. So we're at a big area. I just needed to start performing pronto, because that is big volume on a gap down. Market makers probably had to absorb it, probably mark it back up. If I get back to even at 78 and CF's at breaking out, I'm just going to dump this. Just keep it simple. Aaron, what a wild ride. Talk about high volume highs, high volume lows retesting, the VAP zone or the point of control. Back test the trend line again. Opens low, washes out, goes below. I don't even know why it bottomed at 36.50. It really wasn't much of a price point. Rallies back. It's going to be a hard one. Keep in mind, this stock has huge volume at the lows. Huge on earnings. Letter X. Letter X and this look very similar. Maybe, actually, Alcoa has bigger pullback, clearly. But what is the thing that Alcoa has that X doesn't? Does anyone want to take a shot in the dark before I continue on? Shot in the dark. Any shot in the dark. Any shot in the dark. Volume. Somebody ain't playing around. I don't know, what is that? 38 million shares times 38. Do the math. It's a big bet. Now, again, obviously it's not all buying and not all long-term, but somebody during that day took on a whopper, right? XLF. The market ain't going to fail if the XLF is holding up. Now we're back testing the trend line. Leading up, the volume hasn't been spectacular down or up near the highs. I would anticipate chop. Chop, chop. Morgan Stanley, been a little weaker. They didn't bamboozle people as well, but look at this. It pops up. Still got buying pressure. I'm not, I don't know. JP Morgan, do I need to do the Real Men of Genius skit again? Over the 200-day. It's not looking that bad. Man, update your fibs. Update the fibs, my friend. You got to get better. You got to clean your charts. Well, first of all, you got to save it. There you go. 0.382. Adios. Or going higher. You tell me. Personally, what do you think? Anyone have any thoughts? Because to me, it doesn't really look that bad. Right? Does it look like it's about to smoke down? Smoke out, smoke down, whatever you want to, whatever your choice of party is. Does it? I don't know. Doesn't look terrible. Whatever. Again, JP Morgan. If this is holding up, y'all, you can't really get stupid bearish. XBI, where are you? Hypothetically speaking, looked so good yesterday. Today, tight action on the 20-day. Need more information. I don't know what to tell you. Solar. Told y'all not to short it. Man, I got so many people go oh, Dan, you got to short. I'm like, no. Why don't you? No. Above the 20-day, we want a bigger pop. I don't care if the red wave is coming, blue wave, what. The market clearly is floating higher, and this stuff is not dropping. Do I want to step in front of the bullet train? ENPH. All right, watch what happens when it gets up here. If it holds high and tight, it might go back up. There's a monthly channel up here. Keep that in mind. First, sedge. We talked about even this junk is floating. When the junk is floating up, be careful. Nice 2-day range here. Doesn't look bearish to me. First Solar, I said on the monthly, go check it out. The 164 has become the 50% fib and the next point of control. Here you go. Near-term channel highs, I mean, damn, this thing has been a rocket. 117 to 158. I don't know. You see 164. I mean, again, people are like, you said 140. I said, whoa. I said, watch it. I said, don't just jump in blind. I was like, if the market's going higher, I don't want to short it. Because I said, if it gets over 140, the next fib and point of control are up near the 160s. Hello. Now, again, I look at that as a win because if I would have shorted this, I'd be real pissed off. Sometimes knowing when not to trade, not getting stuck in a trade, that is a good thing, y'all. That is a good thing. Just being aware. Just keeping it real, dog. Oh, man, that's crazy. Anyway, let's finish the oil and gas. I'll stop recording. We'll ask some questions. Appreciate love, support, super chats, all that kind of junk. It's appreciated. Oil, gaps down, holds up. Did Powell say something about oil? Because it seems to not be listening to anything he said. Not looking a little bearish. Nat gas, this wily coyote. I mean, you got to watch this 18 range. Nothing really much to say. ExxonMobil, holding up. I mean, there's potential to get up much higher, and I think you could see the 116s. This is the trend. This is the monthly trend line. Let me just make it like special. Let's make it special. What's special? Yellow. Yeah, it's fun colors. I'd watch that. I mean, it just doesn't seem like it's done yet. XOP. Everybody wants a short. Well, here, look what happened in May and June. Zeek. Remember commodities? Zeek. Market went sideways. Remember, the market went literally nowhere. Zink. That stuff went hot. Zoolander, or was it Blue Steel? So hot right now. So hot. Blue Horseshoe. So hot right now. Loves Endicott Steel. Holding the 20-day. Holding up the Oxy. EQT, someone asked about that. Oil stocks seem to be pumping. I gave up on this one. Once I read that they had a $5 billion derivative loss write-off from trading oil and gas, I'm like, you guys need to hire me to manage your derivatives portfolio. I could have told you when to short and when to buy oil and gas. It's not rocket science. You guys are literally on the front lines, and somebody's doing some. I mean, somebody needs to be fired. Weathermen have better records. I mean, how do you be an oil and gas company and lose $5 billion on derivatives? What were you doing? Who's in control here? Was Hunter Biden trading your portfolio? No, actually, if it was, you'd have made probably $5 billion. Anyway, no jokes. We're done. I'm going to stop recording. I appreciate it. Hit me up if you have questions. Let's go to live comments, questions, answers. What do y'all have? What do you have for me? What do you have for me? Oh, we're going to show the recordings. I don't care because I'm going to transfer this into my Dropbox. Get everything flowing. Because I'll be up late if not. Any questions, thoughts, concerns? Because again, everybody's getting real bearish on the Discord room that I don't really trust. When I say I don't really trust, it's not personal. I just don't trust that the people who are making these, like, again, they're getting real emotional. Again, when someone seems emotional and they're trading, you know what I think? The market makers got them by the grip. And by the grip, I mean by the cojones. And by the cojones, I mean doing things they might regret. Is that all related? I don't know if it really is. You got to be careful. These types of folks, again, they're usually not too, which is kind of crazy. And it's like, man, do you really want to short tech here? I don't know. Do you want to go long? I mean, either or. I'm like, I don't know, man. We try to stay away from the hard moves. You want to do the hard things. It gets hard, man. Have I looked at any other give me a second. I've got a whole nother watch list. This little guy right here. All commodity names. Let me flip through them real quick. Because that's a good question, Jordan. EOG, that looks good. That's looking real good. Devin. Oh yeah, who was asking about Devin the other day? Yeah, look at that. Dropped and popped right back. Nice. 2-day. Man, you could have used that as the 2-day low. Nice work. Whoever asked about that. Cool. Let me see. Is Patchy's like mix of oil and gas, right? Oh, look at that. They had earnings yesterday, right? That's not bearish. Was it you, Joe? Yeah, congrats. Hey, did you trade Devin, Joe? Did you trade Devin, Joe? It's like two names, two first names. Did you trade Devin Energy, Joe T? Probably. CLR, I mean, I think they're oil and gas. Oh, yeah, they're getting bought out. Never mind. LNG, I think, is a big player right now. Yep. EOG. Yep. Fang, that looks good. I mean, these names are all like near the highs. Yeah, let's look at LNG. Man, it's crazy. I don't have any. Yeah, dude, this thing has gone so hot. I mean, it's like my fibs are at extensions. Like, this is how long it's been since I really tried to trade it. It's holding up. I mean, man, this is fun. Like, draw it on the fly. Let's go. Let's go. What angle of ascent do we want? Something like that. I mean, things that they don't look bearish to me. It's just the ones that are up a ton. They might get a little tired and then they go. And then something like EQT, like, I mean, I'm trying to think of someone who I can make fun of on the Discord room that be like, they're trading. But I don't want to make fun of anyone specifically. But Kramer is managing their derivatives fund. That's who's managing EQTs. And so that $5 billion write-off, I mean, that's bad. That is bad. Do you mean silver and gold could COD be a buy and hold now? That question implies that the bottom is in. Do you guys think I think the bottom is in? No. I think it's tradable. Keep in mind, money's not destroyed. It rotates. I mean, take notes. I mean, I hate to sound like a broken record to the people watching this after the fact going, no crap, Dan said it 7 times. This video alone. But no, I mean, it's a good question if you're not sure. But no, I don't think it's the final bottom. Has the VIX hit 40 plus? I mean, it needs to get to 50 or 60. I mean, in this cycle with all the debt and government intervention and Fed mistakes, I mean, the VIX is going to be at a 60 or 70 handle. I've seen people talking about the market at 15 times earnings next year at whatever, 185 on the SPY, and they're like, oh, 268 makes sense. And I'm like sitting here like, how are you going to try to guess the bottom on a market valuation when the market ain't rational? If it goes up higher than it should, like look at the mountain that is the SPY. If this is the mountain that is, like, it's not going to go back to some rational price. Like, it's not going back to like the 2020 like mid-range. No, it's probably going back to COVID lows, probably lower. But what day, what month? I mean, again, you really need the Feds to do some banging stuff out there. When I say banging, like, they need like one more, like they need the jobs number tomorrow, because that's a good question. It was jobs number. I could see it pop in the market tomorrow. Everybody's bearish in front of the job number. I was looking at Justin Pulitzer's poll, and usually, you know, anything over 60% in one direction is extremely heavyweight one side. I think 68% of the participants in his polls expected the jobs number to make the market go down tomorrow. Usually when it's that one way, it's the opposite's about to happen. Because again, remember, the market makers are setting traps. But there's no such thing as operator. Okay, whatever. Jesus, I hate that when people start talking like that. At this point, I mean, I'm looking at the monthly here, and again, it's not going to be a straight line move. It's really hard to compare this to any other time other than like the 1970s, 2000s, and 2008 combined. GDP, 2%, not falling off a cliff. Housing, not falling off a cliff. Inflation, causing the problems. Tech bubble, unwinding, causing problems. Put those two together, what's the final low? I'll see you when we get there. I have no clue when we get there, but we'll get there. You know what I mean? Like, we'll know. Because the VIX will spike. Remember? The VIX will go bananas, B-A-N-A-N-A-S, whatever, bananas, you're going to get a VIX spike. You're going to get a VIX spike. You're going to get a VIX spike. And then we'll be there. And whatever that level is, I don't know. Again, it's always funny. Like, people are like, tell me where the lows are. I'm going to tell you the lows are. When nobody wants to buy stocks and everyone's freaking the F out. That's how you're going to know. Just get to that point. Survive. Now, someone asked me again, because this is a great question. How did gold act in 2008? Great question. Remember? All right. Remember the markets bottomed in March 2008. Remember this? Do you know what month gold bottomed in 2008? October. Oh my God. Oh my God. You ever seen that? Was it that Saturday Night Live skit with Stefan where he puts his hands over his head? Oh my God. October. Well, it's November 3rd. That can't be the same. Oh, close enough. Again, we know the Feds haven't pivoted. But what I would think now, because again, we're back on the monthly. Let's look at this rationally. 7 straight months. Who was the guy in April telling you, watch the retest? If it can't get over the 2011 highs, we were going down. How low? I said low. Probably the 0.382. Well, damn it, Dan. At least you kept me from, again, this is like shorting First Solar. At least you kept yourself out of trouble. Because you would have tried to buy gold at any point and really trade. Again, we traded it, but bought the bottom and thought it was in. You idiot! Sandwich. It's like putting the piece of bread on your ears and Gordon Ramsay calling you idiot. Yes. But now down here, look at tight range. Tight. I mean, will this month be green? If it's green, it means it could at least get back maybe 160s. I mean, I'd love to see this thing go tight and chop. I mean, this is why it's so hard to predict. But again, I'm not bearish gold at the moment. I might be later, but I hope that helps. I mean, that's all these things. I'm like, all right, let's go look at the monthly. Let's go look at the past. Nothing says to me gold is bearish at this moment. So why would I not buy it? Even as much as I hate gold, and gold has actually been the best thing that ever happened to me because it taught me more about myself and trading than anything. Told you about humility. Talks about, I mean, again, inflation's been raging for years, and gold should be probably somewhere in this blue line zone, but it ain't. Again, it's manipulated. The markets are manipulated. Stop pretending they're not. It's just gold. No, it's a game. Any other questions? Because I think this is where it's hard. Like, I mean, even silver. Oh my God. What is silver doing? If it's holding up, I don't think gold's going to new lows. It should probably pop. Any other questions? Because again, I still believe the Feds are going to get stuck. Inflation's going to kick in. Commodities are going to start ripping again. Because money's moving out of tech. And what do you think the Feds are going to have to do? One more monster rate hike. Like hot photo, my sister. Yes, me love you, sister. Long time. I'm sorry, I removed this comment. What is that crap? Come on. Who are you? Why do I get spammed? Why? What did I guess I'm special. Anyway, let's make them a moderator. No. Any other questions? Going on an hour. I appreciate y'all. I mean, pick my brain. I'm literally begging you to ask me a question. Ask something. Ask me a question. Who likes Ace Ventura? Any Ace Ventura fans out there? Remember those movies? Jim Carrey when he was funny. Was pretty damn funny. Let me ask you a question. Any questions? Any questions? Literally begging for a question. Jordan. Nutrien. We talked about it. Is the cup and handle on the gold invalidated when you said the cup handles with 30 or am I getting this wrong? Jordan, great question. Absolutely great question. Because what did we talk about? 0.382 not getting invalidated. Yet, technically, when it broke below it, I think if you watch previous videos, I'm like, well, then maybe the next point of control at 150 is logical to happen. Does it have to get there this month? I don't know. Does it have to get there this month? I don't know. But that would, to me, be like very exciting. That would, to me, would be the obvious spot. Good question, though, because that's usually you do not want to go beyond the 0.382 on a cup and handle. But do you see very clearly right here around 148? You got the 50% fib. You got like the range lows from the 2011 December 2011. How funny is that? Right? Then that was the breaking point, game over. Then it was support, resistance. It was like all COVID weirdness. It's a good question. I personally think you could go. I mean, that's the only evidence where you go, oh, well, the value of 0.32 maybe has to get down to 148. Okay, maybe not. Nutrien, I don't know what your question is, but you just typed it. We talked about it. Said got stuck. I mean, 3 calls are going probably kapoof. And I got 400 shares that suck. But, I mean, this is where my alarm was. Like, I was hoping this was, like, where we would touch during the VIX spike. I mean, do y'all see why the 70 area matters? Did y'all see on the daily, like, the John Daily? I mean, it hit that spot, bounced, decent volume. We'll see. I mean, if you own this stock, you literally have to put a line in the sand and like the low of today. If it gets below today, just get out. You can always get back in if it popped below, but I would absolutely get out. Any more questions, comments, concerns? Oh, look at that. The futures just went to green. Why? I have no clue. No clue. Look at that. Let me look at. I'm just because someone's gonna ask a question. SQM, that doesn't look. Man, oof. That doesn't look bad. Again, I don't know if they had earnings or reaction to earnings. That doesn't look bad. Look at the moo. Moo! This ETF's been around a while. Nice little gap down hold. 20-day. Yeah, I mean, the ETFs. Yeah. I don't know. Any last questions? For now, hold your peace. Bless you, my child. Man, I still get the funniest comments sometimes. Like, literally, somebody assaulting my character like that I'm some sort of like extremist because I believe that elections are rigged. Too funny. It looked like that one guy who called through was right, even though not fully buying it crashed and either stepped in today. I mean, I guess broke. I mean, everyone's gonna win at some point, right? Like, it's impossible to be always wrong. He called for 370 post OPEX or post Feds. I mean, I guess he's technically right. I mean, this is the thing. Like, that makes sense to me that we talked about. I mean, I if y'all remember, I said if the IWM pulls back to the 20-day post Feds, I would be a buyer. Does anyone remember that? I thought there was probably little chance we got there, but holy testicle Tuesday, you got there. And look what it did. Boink. So, you know, some people, I mean, that you're like, I mean, I wish I could predict every move. I guess that's all I can say. I wish I could predict every move. Some people are going to be right. I mean, I wasn't surprised the market pulled back. We talked about during the day. I was like, man, if you see the 180 area, I mean, SPY, same thing. I was like, man, if you see like the mid 370s, I mean, right here, I mean, we got there at the close. I mean, I even thought like 380 I thought was a buy. This is hard. This is the hard, right? And you did buy the 20-day, didn't you, Zach? Didn't you buy the 20-day on item? I think you hit me up about that. Yeah, I mean, I don't ever lose my cool because, again, position sizing really creates emotion. I mean, some people are like, you should be, don't you trade in like 50 options and 10,000? Like, no. When I'm unsure, I don't raise my risk tolerance and go bonkers. I get more evidence-based and like thoughtful and tighter with my action. Try not to. No, I dipped. Don't AG. No, I don't know. That's what I try to do is stay calm. I mean, it's hard. I mean, I'm not perfect. I mean, yesterday, I mean, I honestly thought that Fed meeting drop at the close. I'm like, that's a joke. I was like, that's a joke. The VIX went nowhere. was like, stop it. I'm like, that's like it's like, why are you tickling me? Like, here was the Fed day, VIX. It's like, you're cute. Stop playing around. And then this is what the SPY did, right? It's like, it's like, what? It's like, what is going on? People are like, oh, the VIX is broken. I don't think the VIX is broken. No, I dipped into AG, higher highs and higher lows. Okay, well, I don't blame you. I mean, we talked about it. Like I said it earlier. Held the 50 day. I mean, silver ain't looking that bad. That's what put me into gold. I'm like, something's going on here. Like, gold's at the lows, and silver is just like, no, 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 no. And then it gaps down today, and was watching it, and it was ripping right back. And I'm like, I mean, I don't want to trade gold, but it's literally saying, buy me. Everybody hates it, too. Everyone in the Discord room's like, oh, gold is the worst. It sucks. I'm like, yeah, but look at the chart. Take away GLD and call it EOG. I mean, whatever. I'm like, this isn't that bad. What the? Now, again, it's not silver, but look at this candle. Right? Right? You go below. You gap down. Novice gap. Novice gap. Potential. You gap down and you close at the high of the day. Putting my pen down, shutting it off. Again, it's like, okay, all right, I guess I'll buy more. And it's not like this is like the first bottom. This is the third bottom. This is a third reference point. So this isn't like we're picking the bottom. Do y'all see how like it's like, all right, I guess gold's a buy. I mean, everybody out there hates it. I mean, what did I say yesterday? Kitco's talking about hedge funds destroying gold. Thanks, Kitco. You did it again. You literally did it again. Everybody believes that you guys are a source of information for gold and silver and metals, uranium, whatever. And you're wrong, wrong, wrong. Do y'all see this? Do you see this candle today? Does this candle look bearish to y'all? Now, if it opens tomorrow at like 151 and change, people are going to be like, oh, game over. I'm like, watch it. I mean, as soon as I saw 151 today and it got back over, I started buying. I remember I bought some yesterday because I thought silver looked like it was going. Oh, boner of the day. That didn't work out. But again, it was the starting position. And then it was like, okay. And, typically you wouldn't add to a loser. Right? Well, when the action gapped below novice and started flipping and floating back up and silver started floating back up and miners started holding levels, I was like, Barrick's blowing out. I'm like, well, that's pretty par for the course. Something makes sense. And then you go look at sorry, I'm just like rambling again, but look at the dollar. I'm sitting here watching it. I'm going, okay, you're gapping up to the top of the range. And look at the volume. Look at the volume. Tight action on a gap up. This feels like it could be a novice gap. I mean, literally flip it up. Because you don't want to see big gap ups and dojis. And I mean, I guess it's not that big of it. But again, based on the Fed stuff, like, I don't think you want to see a doji. A lot of rumor about a crash. Yes, everybody's talking about the crash. It's so predictable. No, it's not going to be. And again, maybe it is for once. But what are the odds that the crash happens when everyone believes in it? No. It's usually what, right? What do we talk about with the SPY? I mean, these are great comments because it segues to stuff that matters. We talked about the May chop top where commodities went nuts. Here you go. Chop top. Right? Then it led to the flop. Everybody has to get bullish again. Like, I don't feel like anyone's bullish. Because again, tech does look like crap, which I don't blame. It's pretty easy to look at tech and go, end of the world, and then it's pretty hard to look at oil and gas and certain commodity names and go, well, they look like they're great. That just shows you money's rotating. Like financials, they look great. Don't tell me stupid JP Morgan calling for the 20%, Jamie Dimon calling for a 20% decline in the market and his stock is up 30%. Doesn't feel bearish. Solar is complete garbage. overvalued times a bazillion, making 52-week highs. Like, this stuff doesn't look that bearish. All right, no more questions. I'm going to let it go. Hope this helps. Try to be entertaining. Again, not emotional at all. Just trying to make this fun and give it passion behind it. But you got to be thoughtful. You got to be thoughtful. Just curious here if I run a fib extension. The 1 point. Oh my God. 164 is the 1618 fib extension. I love Fibonacci's, y'all. I love them. I absolutely love them. The market does too, if you start to learn them. Great up to, no problem. Again, I appreciate you guys, the love, support. I don't take a lot of the comments personal, but the people that I'm trying to teach, I care about their feedback. The people who are just always talking junk, I don't care. Because here's the thing, like, if you think you're going to figure this out on your own and do it cheaply, the average trader blows out his account 3 times before becoming successful. Please don't do that. Let's try to see if you can do that 0 times. Maybe you have a few big drawdowns, but you don't go blowing up. You don't go belly up. All right. Peace, y'all. Thanks, Josh. Thanks, M. I think. Anyway. I'm not going to go over uranium right now. But no, I don't think uranium's going to dump, man, if commodities are kind of got a little bit of a. All right. Peace out, y'all.